You are listening to CPA Review and more. You are listening to CPA Review and more. You are listening to CPA Review and more. You are listening to CPA Review and more.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you're joining from. And thank you for listening to this episode of CPA Review and More with your host, Phil Yaeger. I'm your producer and director here at the Yaeger Studios, Rob Medford, and together we are bringing you the #1 podcast for CPAs and CPA candidates. If you're new to the show, I'd like to be the first to thank you for checking us out. We're excited to have you as part of our listenership. If you're here because you've already heard our show and you're a continued listener, we thank you for the ongoing support. It's always greatly appreciated. If you're in the market for a CPA review course or simply want to know more about what Yaeger CPA Review has to offer, check out our website at yaegercpareview.com or call our office and we'll answer any questions you might have. The link and telephone number will be in the description of this episode. Here at Team Yaeger, we're excited to tell you about our new Yaeger CPA Review subscription format. It's the same great Yaeger CPA Review course that you know and love on an all-new, month-to-month, no long-term commitment subscription format. But without any further delay, I'm going to pass the microphone on over to your host, Phil Yaeger.
Oh, hi, everyone. This is Phil Yaeger. I'm with Jody Padar. And I'm sorry, tell me the gentleman's name again?
It's Ainsley Damery.
Ainsley. Boy, does that sound British. Ainsley. Yeah. All right. And Ainsley, what are you an accountant? What do you do, Ainsley?
I previously I was an accountant, so I sold my accounting firm last September. And I'm working with another guy who did the same thing, and we've built a software company called Clarity. So I don't know if you can see that.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
I love the photos.
He's going to teach advisory to accountants.
Really? Now, what is the software going to do? What kind of software are you developing?
It's basically business advisory software. So we're trying to enable accounting firms to be able to cascade advisory down to the frontline troops. So rather than just historically where it's the top 10 or 20% of clients within the accounting firm that gets really good support from a manager and partner level, what we're trying to do is enable the entire team to be able to deliver an element of business advisory work to almost every client.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with that. How long have you been doing it now? How long have you been in that new business?
It's a year. How long?
We launched in May, and we got our partnership with Intuit QuickBooks in July and with Xero in about June. So it's pretty new.
Terrific. Sounds good. Now, Jody, what is this conference? The Accounting and Finance. What do you're obviously a speaker there, but what is that conference? Who is there?
Yes, so it's accounting and finance people from all over Asia. Most of them are from Singapore, but there are a lot of Australians here and Indonesians here and people from other Hong Kong, China, whatever areas of Asia. And they're learning about the cloud. So they're learning how to do all the stuff that we do in the US and in Australia with apps and stuff like that. And they're learning how to take their practice to the next level. And I'm doing a keynote later today on innovation. So, because I'm radical.
Yeah, I've heard that. Jody, I would think Singapore is probably more advanced than we are on this cloud and artificial intelligence. Are they?
No, they're not. In fact, they're behind us. They're probably 3 or 4 years behind us. So if you think U.S. accountants are conservative, Singapore people are even more conservative. Because, they have lots of rules here. So, if you chew gum here, you get in trouble.
Really?
Yeah. Well, if you throw it on the floor, you get in trouble.
Right, you get caned.
Out of place,
So you're going to be talking. What is your keynote? Which is going to be on the cloud? Is that what it is, or you go into other forms of artificial intelligence?
No, it's going to be on the cloud and innovation and making innovation part of your firm DNA. So not doing Sally same as last year. How to get your team evolved so that they're willing to make mistakes and they become more innovative and entrepreneurial. So, I think it's a really good idea from a practical standpoint. I don't know how many accounting firm cultures can really take it.
Now, most of you, I don't know if you've listened to our podcast. We've had Jody on a few times. And for those who have not, Jody, tell everyone what you really do. What do you do for a living?
So what do I do? So I'm a CPA, and it took me 5 times to pass the exam. So because I didn't use Yaeger CPA Review, you know that.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, great.
So that's
By the
why
way,
it took me 5.
that's our plug. Is that our plug for the evening?
That was your plug.
Thanks a lot.
This episode of CPA Review.
Thank you, Joe. But no, seriously, go ahead. Tell everyone.
So, but anyways, I own a firm, and in our firm, we use bots and artificial intelligence. So my firm only has 2.5 full-time equivalents, and I don't work in my firm. And then I have a media company where I do social media and blogging and consulting to vendors, and really out radicalizing the profession, helping them to change so that they can work less and make more money. So that's truly what the Radical CPA is about.
I didn't know honestly, I didn't know you did social media as a separate business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you do with that exactly? Is that how you, go ahead, I'll let you go.
So full disclosure, vendors pay me to tweet or post or write about their products, right? So as a blogger, that's my content, and people want to hear it. And so just like you would pay a reporter, that's how I earn money. So I write white papers. And
is that a full time? You spend a lot of time on that? Is that full time?
So it's a lot of, well, I shouldn't say it's a lot of time. It makes money, but it's not a lot of time.
Okay. Well, it's better to work smart than hard, right? Got to work smart.
So it's more of a, yeah, right. So again, it's brand value. So if you think about where you can have pricing innovation, right? If you think about pricing innovation, the more brand value you have, the higher rate you charge. And so that's where innovation comes in. And so,
by the way, for those who just
follow that, Phil.
Yeah, I followed that. I took notes as you were speaking.
We know, yeah.
But Jody, actually, our guest today is tonight. It's night here. It's 8 a.m. in the morning there, Wednesday, in Singapore. Jody's in Singapore. Jody is an expert. Can I say you're an expert on cloud, and also artificial intelligence. And she's also a media. Well, how many hats do you? I mean, it's amazing. Do you wear a hat? That's the first question. But you're really involved in everything. Of all the things you do, what do you enjoy the most? Which area would you say you enjoy the most to do?
So my favorite thing is what I call social business, which is not social media. And social business is basically the art of business development using social. So if you think about someone who goes out to build a business or a rainmaker, like a rainmaker partner, that's me. I just use it using new technologies such as social. So that's how I connect with people. So I'm like that rainmaker partner, but I just use technology.
Is this something you were trained to do in any way? Or do you think it's just something you have, like a talent to do what you're doing? What do you think?
So I think it goes back to growing up in a firm with my dad, right? So I was always part of a firm. I always watched a partner build a business. So when my dad he's always talking to someone, he would pick up clients at the gas station because he would always talk to them about like what he did. And so what I did is when I left my old firm and I was a young mother, I couldn't go to like Chamber of Commerce meeting or a chicken dinner or a breakfast meeting because I had small kids and my kids little and I had to be home with them. So I would go online and I would start conversations there. And so what it did is it evolved me to learn how to really network with interactions, which is, it's not marketing, right? It's really building relationships. And so an example of this is like last night, Australians and I went out, as well as Ainsley, and we were laughing like we've been friends for 20 years, right? Would you agree with that?
Yep.
Like you would never know that we had never met in real life, but we know each other. So
no, I found we were like that the first time we were talking. Remember, it was just constant laughter.
Yes.
So as a result of that,
so I have a question for you,
Go ahead.
Bill. What is your favorite kind of Jell-O salad?
I don't like Jell-O. Okay, but I'll tell you, I used to when I never had Jell-O salad. I had, I would have Jell-O, red Jell-O. Oh, I like grape Jell-O. That was good, and peach Jell-O.
Yeah, so in Australia they call it jelly. I did not know that. And the other thing that I thought was really interesting is they don't have Jell-O like we eat Jell-O in America, where it's like a thing and everyone brings Jell-O. Like they don't. It's not like that. So they were amazed at my American culture of like having Jell-O at every party.
No, when it comes to Jell-O, which is really a very good thing to talk about with accounting, but Jell-O is, I love Jell-O pudding. I love Jello pudding, chocolate pudding. So we still buy that. But
so the other thing that we were talking about last night and why I had to bring it was because he has swag, and I want you, Phil, to see if you can figure out what this swag is and how it has to do with accounting software. So do you want to do an unboxing? We're going to do an unboxing here of the Clarity swag just for you.
Right now?
Right now,
Oh
Phil.
my gosh.
Right now.
Well, coast
Right
to coast, continent to continent. All right, I'm ready.
All right. So see,
What am I looking for?
Okay. So see, it says Clarity.
Clarity.
So that's the brand of the software. And
Okay.
it comes in this fancy pouch, right?
Looks like a newspaper pouch, actually.
Right.
Yes.
So now I'm going to open it up and I'm going to see what's in it. Now, here comes this like.
What is that, toothbrush? Is that a toothbrush?
What is this? Like a cleaner? What's it called?
Well, it looks like a
right?
cleaner for the commode, in case. No, it could be full of brush. Remember full of brush? Should I still remember?
Right, our mascara brush, right? We were thinking
well,
mascara.
I didn't use mascara. I stopped last week. But,
Okay,
okay.
so the first thing I pull out of my Clarity bag is this crazy brush. And I'm thinking, what is this? And what does this have to do with accounting software? Okay, so I pull out the second thing. And it is, you know what this is? It's a metal straw.
A metal straw. Well, is it good for the environment?
It's reusable, but I won't be using it anytime soon.
Well, that's a very tall drink. Go ahead. It's a metal straw.
Right.
Okay.
So now you can take your brush and you can clean your straw. And so this is the swag that he is handing out at the accounting show. And to me, it's the most ridiculous thing ever.
Who's
What
it?
do you
Ainsley's
think?
handing that
But
out?
ridiculous catches attention. Ridiculous
Ainsley-
catches attention.
Ainsley, are you handing that out?
Yes, I am.
They're going to think
Now-
you're a plumber with that stuff, you know? Are you going into plumbing
They
accounting?
may well do, but the attention it's got has been quite interesting. So it's good.
Well, what are you trying to do? What do you want to catch from them? What does that's what you get with the brush.
Okay.
Now, what are you trying to get as a result of handing that out? I'm not sure.
Well, so let's put the brush in context, straw in context. We were at ZeroCon and the whole conference was about sustainability to make sure the swag didn't want us previously used to give out the water at events. It was felt that was not very environmentally friendly. So we thought, okay, let's play the game. Got these straws, so reusable straws. And for example, Singapore is pretty much plastic. When you go out at night and you have a cocktail or whatever, they don't give straws. I don't know. It works. Yeah.
That's an excellent marketing tool, Ainsley.
Thank you.
Remind me not to call you for a marketing idea. No, that's very, very unusual. I would get
So
that out.
I knew that I had to bring Ainsley as a guest because I knew that you would appreciate this eco-friendly straw, because last night when he showed it to me, I was dying laughing for 20 minutes and we got a whole bunch of social play on it and we thought it was really funny. And I think the funniest part is because when you open it up, you're thinking, what am I going to do with this pipe cleaner? And it's going to remind me that I want to use Clarity accounting software, right?
You could use that with a tidy bowl, can't you? The tidy bowl stuff, remember that? Anyway, at this conference, there are no Americans, or they're just all from Asia?
I think I'm the only American.
The only American. And now, are they using any of this artificial intelligence yet in Singapore, the Far East?
Jody's bringing it.
Tell them about your artificial.
Yeah, Phil. So I think what we were discussing yesterday with the guys from Zero was that from a personal perspective, Singapore really advanced technological perspective, and it's a lot to do with status. The best phone all the time. From a personal, but when it comes to a business, they're risk averse, so they don't really want to take too many risks. For them, cloud adoption at the moment is about 50%, and so they don't want to be the early adopters. They want to be kind of the late majority. So until cloud takes off, people aren't going to really jump in. And so from an artificial intelligence perspective and from an app add-on, they're not really utilizing the power. And it's a shame, but I think they're understanding move forward. And in Singapore, the government has quite an entrepreneurial flair, and they're looking at this quite strongly. And what they're saying is that if the government pushes this forward, then there will be mass adoption, and so these guys will be able to jump the curve if they actually grasp the opportunity.
Is that who you're trying to talk to there? The government? Is that really Jody?
Yeah, so we're trying to help them adopt, and I wanted to go to Singapore, right? So I've never keynoted internationally before. So for me, it was a feather in my cap because I'm always speaking the U.S. and I've never been like on vacation, but I've never keynoted. So I jumped at the chance and I saw the movie Crazy Rich Asians. Did you see that movie?
Yes,
Phil?
it was very good.
That
Very
movie
good.
hilarious.
Yes. Ainsley.
And it's just like that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jody, go ahead. It's just like that?
No, it's just like that. No, it's not exactly, but it's fun like that. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
So, Jody, if I were to relate like Asia's soft to modern technology, Asia would be like the Apple where they wait for everyone else to perfect it before implementing it,
Maybe, yeah.
more or less. Because like Samsung is the first to implement new, Apple is the first to implement new hardware, but they let everybody else perfect the technology behind it, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good analogy.
Well, without the cloud, do they
But
have...
the people here are very, very nice. The people are so nice and friendly, and they speak English, and so it's really easy to relate.
Without the cloud, being they're not involved in that, do they have security problems with their data at all?
I don't think any more so than anybody else does. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're subject to the same cybersecurity risks that any CPA is subject to.
What do most of the accountants there? Are they just chartered accountants from China? What exactly? They're not CPAs.
Yeah,
are
I think they're.
Yeah, they're pretty much they're chartered or ACCA, which is similar. I'm sure if you have that in the US. No, okay. Yeah, so pretty much chartered. Yeah.
Is the CMA becoming a big certification there? Do you have anybody there that's CMA also?
Yeah, there was a stand actually. I was
Yeah.
wandering around yesterday. There's a CMA stand, so it looks like they're pushing hard on that perspective. ACCA is the international equivalent of CMA.
Yeah.
Or the ACCA tend to be more management accountants.
So there were no one from the AICPA there.
No, I was surprised because I thought maybe someone would be here from them, and there wasn't anyone from the AICPA.
They're all in London at the round table.
Oh.
You see, that's what's happening. The IMA is taking over with their, I don't want to say certification, but they are really taking over that market. People are taking that exam, and they've had tremendous growth in the Far East. And there it is, the example. The AICPA, no one is there. I would think they would be there to push their CGMA, but obviously...
Well, I would think they would be here too, because I realized this, I didn't know this, but Singapore is a big thing for like people who want to do business in Asia. They come to Singapore and they incorporate so incorporations are a big deal. So, and I didn't know that, but I learned that yesterday. So my next company, I'm going to start just because.
Okay. Well, are you trying to say there's no CPAs whatsoever in that group that you're speaking to? No one is CPA?
It's their equivalent.
It's the equivalent, the CAs.
Okay. And the chartered accountants. Now, they don't have the experience requirement. You know, the CPA, the problem is experience requirement, the licensing. Are they as tough as the AICPA on that? Chartered accountants? Is their exam as difficult as the CPA exam?
Yeah, how was your exam when you took it?
So our exams were the same. In the UK, certainly they was the same, and it's the same requirements on insurance regulations and continuing professional development and all that in the UK. And pretty much Singapore will follow, because there is the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Singapore as well. So it's the UK equivalent. And the ICAEW from England does some support for them. So it would be pretty much the same as CPAs, yeah.
And you go by, International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS? Ainsley,
Yeah.
You don't really get involved with GAAP at all, do you?
Last year.
Yeah, when I had my practice, it was a very niche business advisory accounting firm. So compliance and tax returns were probably 20% of the revenue that we used to make. So, and I worked with KPMG a long time ago. So my knowledge of audit and international accounting standards is pretty small.
Well, where'd you get your experience in, you're working in software. Where did you get that experience?
We were very early adopters of cloud technology in the UK, so I was using Xero. Actually, it was the software we were using at the time back in 2010. And I think...
He's a radical.
and I think for us, it's not technology for technology's sake. It was technology as an enabler to actually deliver better client services, to deliver better value to our clients, to be able to help them grow, which is what they really want from an accountant, rather than for them to just file their taxes.
You know, when I was talking to you, Jody, I asked you for the training for the artificial intelligence, also for cloud accounting. Yeah, I know you said at Northern Illinois University, where you took a lot of classes, they were really training people like yourself for that, would you say? Where I have not seen a lot of that going on here in other than Northern Illinois, or maybe there's other big universities, but I have found that a lot of the universities here in the DC area They're not covering this stuff. They're not going over it.
Wow. Well, they may be covering it. It's just not under the accounting program. It's under data science, or it's under like computer science, right? So it's like a crossover class, which is a bad thing, I think. I mean, it should be under the accounting program. It should be a required course, because pretty soon the bots are going to do everything, and we're going to need to know how to do the data.
Is the AICPA really on top of this? What's going on? I mean, are they ready to come up with the supply of people that's going to be needed? Yes or no?
No, they're not ready. No.
Now, do you voice that to them at all? The AICPA? Do you tell them that?
No, not really.
Now, why is that? Don't you feel that should be brought up for the AICPA so that the accountants, they supposedly have influence in the big firms. So where are these people going to come from to do this artificial intelligence unless the AICPA is behind it in some way?
So I think the AICPA needs to not listen to the firms and look at the world around them and look outside of who they talk to, because they're caught in kind of that legacy thinking, just like all the old school firm owners are, because those are the people who pay their dues. And so they're afraid that if they kind of disrupt themselves, they'll be out of a job, right? Because the old school won't learn it, right? They don't want to learn that. And so I don't think they're keeping up, quite honestly. And they say that they are, but at the end of the day, they're a huge non-for-profit organization, and it's a big ship to move, right? So it's going to take them time. And I don't know, not to say that I think the leadership gets it, but I don't think their constituents get it enough. And so at the end of the day, who do they serve? The people who pay their bills. And those people don't want data science classes. They want tax classes.
Well, yeah. Jody, what do you want? What do you think you want to do for the profession over the next 5 years? What is your goal? Obviously, you want to help the profession, right?
Absolutely.
All right. And what do you feel will be the problem in the next 5 years? A shortage of people to do the type of, product?
I think it'll set, right? So I think automation is going to take away a lot of the work today. So that's not going to be a problem, because we can just add more bits and bytes, and that'll make the computer go faster, and we'll be able to do all that work. I think it's going to be something like Ainsley's training, which is software to facilitate young professionals to learn how to do advisory work as opposed to waiting till they're partners, right? So typically, early CPA would do a lot of technical work until they were maybe 7 years in. And at that point, they would start talking to clients. And with the technology doing all that technical work, we need to upskill the profession to learn how to do advisory work when they're 2 years out of college or 1 year out of college, and not wait till they're 7 years out of college. And so what Ainsley's tool is doing is it's going to help facilitate that training and help them learn how to have conversations, because you and me, Phil, have talked about how CPAs don't necessarily know how to have conversations.
That's true. That's true. And with this, the environment we are in, with everyone talking on the phone and no one talking person to person, yeah, it's definitely a problem. Yeah, they have to. I had this gentleman on, Donny from Hawaii. You probably know him.
Donny Shimamoto.
Yes. And
I love Donny. He's awesome.
Yeah, his episode released today, actually.
And he's bright guy. And I see that's a real good area. In fact, that's the big area, advisories. And I wonder where we're going to get these people to do that type of work, because you have to have some auditing background, which he says you got to know different companies and what they do, and then get into the consulting area, try to get into that area, maybe in some of the bigger firms. But either way, I see, where are we going to have people for these areas? These are really not just doing bookkeeping. These are people that have to really think. And I'm wondering, what are the schools doing to train? It's what the university should be doing. But once again, I don't know who's in charge of that at the AICPA, but, supposedly they are in touch with the university. I don't know. Sometimes, luckily, I'm going out into the big debit in the sky one day, and probably I won't have to worry about this. But I do, while I'm still here, I do care about the profession. I hate to see it just where it is. It really bothers me,
Yeah, so I want to know, so let's say you train it, but how are they going to test for the CPA exam to see if you have personal skills?
They'll ask 3 or 4 multiple choice on the CPA exam and decide that's your personal skills. No, if they start asking, they haven't said when they're going to start testing any of this stuff. And by the time it could be 3-4 years before they even test it. This still, what's interesting, consulting is the number one area of the big four, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So why are they stressing? This is what they're doing at the CPA. They're stressing auditing. You got to get that auditing to get that license. That's ridiculous. If we're dealing with advisory services, all right, we need to change the experience requirements for the license.
Absolutely.
And every state, it's either working under a CPA or working in a CPA firm. And that's not keeping up with the times.
Did you see PwC is investing, I think, $3 billion in upskilling the profession? Did you see that? It was a big article last week.
No, I did not. And what are they within? Is that within PwC or?
Yes. No, within PwC, they're spending $3 billion with a B to get their team up to par with new skill sets.
Okay. How does that help the profession?
Well, at least it's money.
Yeah, within PwC. But right. What about everyone else? There's other firms.
So here's the rub, right? So everybody's talking about advisory, and nobody really knows what advisory means, or they don't really have a common understanding of what business advisory services are for a small business. And I think accountants have the inherent abilities that small business owners need, because small business owners don't get numbers. They don't understand cash flow management. They don't understand why profit is different from cash. And they just don't know how to read a set of financial statements. So the inherent ability, the superpowers that are built within accountants to be able to help small business owners is just colossal. And we just need to empower them, unleash them, and get them talking to small business owners about cash flow management, about how to understand their numbers, about how every financial decision drives a result and the impact of it. And I think it's more about giving them the communication skills and the confidence, exactly. Because Jody and I were talking yesterday, and we both come from a small business background. So I suppose we had that inherent ability to understand what small business owners were going through and the empathy. And so to be able to just ask them dumb questions and not feel bad about asking a dumb question and not appearing like you know it all the time, I suppose it was something that came naturally to us. So I think we just need to say to the accountants out there, when business isn't perfect, nobody knows whether a decision is right or wrong. We've got to take that decision, measure it, test it before we know whether it's right or wrong. And I think to accountants, they feel a little bit scared of not knowing the answer or not knowing whether it's right or wrong. And we just have to maybe work with them through that. Yeah, give them the confidence to be able to have.
Yeah, well, and I think, CPA training doesn't help them, because when you look at how CPAs are trained, what do we get? Pages of red review marks. Like I remember when I did my first tax return and I got, 30 pages of review notes. And that was how I was trained, right? By all the negatives. Nobody actually told me how to do anything. It was look at the work papers from last year. Don't try and copy it, make all these mistakes. And then a senior would review it all and just hand it back to me and never really talk to me and just say, here, you did it all wrong. And then I would have to go back and fix it. And usually the review notes were 3 weeks later, so I really didn't know what I did anyways. So that's the way I was trained. And we need to do a lot more positive education on the front end to help, especially the next gen, learn it, because when you work in real time, there's no opportunity to fix, do again, and deliver. It's do and get out. And that's the crux of real-time accounting and why it's so disruptive. It's not the technology, it's the real time that puts CPAs in a tizzy, because they don't know how to deal with a client that sees a set of books that may not be perfect because they didn't train their staff member on the front end.
All right. Well, Jody, we were talking about this for a long time, doing this,
I know. I'm so excited that it's actually here, and I'm in Singapore, and we're doing a podcast together, and it's morning here and night there. Isn't that crazy, Phil?
It is. And thank you very much for introducing us to Ainsley. Ainsley, you're a very nice gentleman. I really,
And thank you very much for having me.
And as I said before, I wish you the best with your new venture, And I guess we will talk again. Jody Padar. Why do I mispronounce your name? Jody Padar.
Jody Padar.
Padar, okay? All right, or as we call the RADICAL CPA, okay? You'll see her protesting everything and anything you want to protest. Just give her a call. That's why she's called the RADICAL CPA. But anyway, you want to know about Jody more? Jody, how can they find out about you? Going up to LinkedIn? How would they find out what exactly?
Yeah, so they can follow me on LinkedIn at Jody Padar, or they can go to theradicalcpa.com. So, and it's radicalcpa.com, not DA, not like Chicago. So
And Ainsley, how can they find out about you as what you're doing?
Yeah, it's clarity-hq.com for the Clarity website, and probably the best place to get me is on LinkedIn as well, or on Twitter. So I do a lot of Ainsley Damery.
These are two of the very important people in the profession. I mean, Jody is known; he's got a phenomenal amount of followers on LinkedIn. Thank you, everyone, for listening, watching, and we'll see you again for another Yaeger CPA Review and More. This is Phil Yaeger, and I'm here with Rob. And once again, thank you, Jody, Ainsley. We'll see you again soon.
Once again, I'd like to thank you for being the best part of CPA Review and More with your host, Phil Yaeger. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to hear on the show, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show to share your story, we want to hear from you. Send me an email to the studio at podcast@YaegerCPAReview.com. If you're enjoying the content that we're providing, we'd greatly appreciate it if you'd submit a review to the Apple iTunes podcast app to let us know how we're doing. If you're in the market for a CPA review course, or simply want to find out more about the CPA exam and what Yaeger has to offer, check out YaegerCPAReview.com or call our office and we'll answer any questions you may have. The link and the phone number will be in the description of this podcast. Here at Team Yaeger, we are excited to tell you about our new Yaeger CPA Review subscription format. It's the same great Yaeger CPA Review course that you know and love on an all-new month-to-month, no-commitment subscription format. Check it out today. Once again, my name's Rob Medford. I'm your executive producer and director here at the Yaeger Studios. And until next time, take care and be audit you can be.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to CPA Review.